I dare you to find a real estate agent that would do this on their own house. I'm going to list the house,
No.
but I'm only going to keep it within Pinnacle.
No way.
I don't want showings from any other company.
If I have an option between choosing profitability or doing what's right for the client, time and time again, choosing to do what's right for the client has brought me here. So why would I change it?
Right.
You know, why would I change the formula?
My job is to make sure I get there, everybody's happy, and I leave and everyone's happy.
I know you do, bro.
And that's really it. Just make sure everyone's happy all day.
So how do you,
and that they're okay and that they're getting what they need. And that's
I love
kind
you,
of
I love you, Danny.
that's kind of the job.
So then how do you deal with people leaving? I haven't released anything, but this is like my 20th episode that I've shot already.
Okay.
I've had Carl in here. I've had who else have I had? I have the had a short team here. Who else have I had in here? A lot of people, man. I just can't think off the top of my head right now. Brandon Koppel, Keith Myers, a lot of different people. But I think I'm gonna release this one first.
Okay.
So what it is, we just sit down, we just have a conversation. So no need to be nervous, Danny. Listen, man, I think we're just gonna talk about stuff that's right up your alley, brother. Okay. I mean, you live and breathe this stuff. You know, you have not only been, how long were you an agent for?
I've been an agent for over 38 years.
38 years. And how long have you been an owner for?
An owner for
broker?
27
years. Exactly. So listen, man, there's nothing we're going to talk about here. And actually off camera, right before we started rolling, you were just schooling me on all these different things that are going on, and a lot of specifically the regulatory things. And just kind of telling me what's going on. And originally you said, oh, I want to come into the studio because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like you had this like righteous indignation, you know, you're like, I can't stand this, you know? And so, I kind of just wanted to have a space for you to, talk about that. I want to learn about it. So, but I know that, that there are other people that are like me, that I know that this conversation would benefit. So I think that's a good place to start, man. I know you have some things to get off your chest, specifically with what's going on right now. Explain it to me once again, because
I'll explain to you once again. Like I did before, this started, you were shooting a townhouse I have listed, and we were talking, and I was kind of all worked up about things that are going on in the industry. And I've been thinking about it a lot, right? I've been doing this for over 38 years, and, we've been trying to do it the right way for a very long time. And, there's issues surrounding clear cooperation, right? That's been going on in the country. And clear cooperation is a policy from the National Association of Realtors that was put into place in 2019. And they did this because too many brokerages were keeping listings off market, and they felt it wasn't in the seller's best interest to do this on such a global wide scale. And this policy went into effect. And since then, you've had a lot of large brokerages, super large brokerages with shareholders that might be publicly traded, and they have to create profits, and they've been pushing to get rid of clear cooperation and try to have the ability to keep the inventory in-house for themselves, so their agents could sell those listings and increase their profits and please Wall Street and the shareholders.
I see. So, okay. So in layman's terms, you are a seller, and I am the real estate agent. We sign a listing. Currently, as it stands, clear cooperation, what that means is as soon as I sign that listing, I have to basically tell all the realtors in the country, essentially, or the marketplace, through the MLS, that, hey, I just signed this deal and this home is on the market. So making it accessible to everybody.
Right.
That's currently what it is.
Yeah. And when you sign a listing, you can put a date in, because a lot of times sellers are, they have to get the house cleaned up.
Sure.
get the windows clean, get the house ready,
Sure.
staged, whatever they need to do to get it ready. So sometimes we keep it off market for 2-3 weeks.
Right.
And we write that into the listing. We don't do anything with it.
Right.
We have a listing signed. We help the seller get the property cleaned up and together.
Sure, get
through
it-
our
get it-
vendors
yeah,
or
market
anything
ready.
we can do, market ready. And then when it's ready to go on the market, we put it on the market at once in multiple listings. And we try to create multiple offers, get the seller over asking, make sure they're maximizing everything that they can get out of the house.
Yeah. But the point is that we have to let everybody know on that date.
Yep.
So what you're saying is that this new, and has it gone into effect?
Well, there's a change that they're trying to put in place by September 30th, which each MLS has to come up with their own rules, that there'll be a period of time where you can put it in MLS, but it won't syndicate to the public.
Yeah.
It'll just syndicate to other agents and not to the public, which is kind of not consumer friendly and really, in my own opinion, not best for a seller, for a client. In most situations, which we'll get into that later. But we'll talk about that.
Okay, because there's nuances you're saying.
There's nuance.
Okay. So we will get into that. So what you're saying is that right now, this new proposed thing that's going to take place in September, you're saying now instead of having and being obligated to let everybody know, now you could just keep it in house.
You can keep it in-house, but you have to let the other brokers know about it too. But you can always keep it in-house, but you can let the other brokers know about it as well. It just won't syndicate to the public.
I see.
So you're not going to create all of these, all the buyer interest and buyer calls.
I see what you're saying.
It'll just go to agents.
Wow.
For a period of time.
Yeah.
And then the agents can bring their clients, but not to the public. It's kind of an interesting, strange nuance that they're trying.
But you're saying that it directly impacts the seller because, hey, now you don't have as much competition on your home because not as many people know about, know the fact that your home is being listed. That's what you're saying.
Right.
I see.
Right, exactly.
So why does this, but I know why it frustrates you. I know why it frustrates you.
It frustrates me because, our company, like, we've been around, it's our 40th year.
That's what it is.
That's our 40th year. I've been in the business 38 years. It's my life's work.
Yep.
Right? It's my life's work. And every single time I'll think about it for days.
Yeah.
How to price a home.
Yeah.
Days. Sometimes a couple days after I take the listing. I'll look at comps again. And we teach our agents the same thing, right? Let's make sure we're pricing the home to make sure the seller can get as much money as possible. I want to be able to sleep well at night knowing I got my seller the most they possibly could for that house, and constantly trying to figure out how to do that. And that's my life's work. That's our company, right? We're a local company. And the reason that we're a local company and that we're still around is that the community trusts us. The community knows we have their best interests at heart. It's not our own pocketbooks, right? These other companies, some of these publicly traded companies are sitting around saying, how do we maximize our profits? Let's keep these listings in-house. Let's represent the buyer and the seller and make twice the amount of money on average and increase our profits, increase our share price. How do we do that? Let's do that. We've never done that.
Policy.
And it makes me sick.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's why I'm here today.
I see.
It really upsets me.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do that to a seller? This is usually their largest investment. It's their nest egg. It has to do with their retirement, what they can buy next, everything. You want them to know they can get as much as possible for that house.
And listen, you could argue, well, we are still going to very effectively promote the property from within. I mean, there are companies that have a bunch of agents, and so they are still going to be promoting it to a good quantity of realtors, therefore a good quantity of buyers. But what you're saying is yes, but potentially you could still leave money on the table.
Potentially you could still leave money on the table. And even the largest of companies, right? Let's say, the percentage of agents they have in any given marketplace is tiny. It's a tiny number, right?
I see what you're saying.
You're
100%.
You're not exposing the house to the
100%.
vast majority of the agents.
Yes.
My listings we put on the market, I don't know where that agent's coming from, who's going to bring in the highest offer. That agent might come from 50 or 100 miles away because they're working with a buyer who wanted this area. I don't know where that highest offer is going to come from. that's where the skill comes in. It's fun having a bunch of offers on the listing and doing seller multiple counter offer and last best and final, and figuring out how to get another round of last best and final, and how do we get the price up, because you have so many buyers to work with, and to see how satisfied our sellers are with our service and what we've done and what they got for the house. This is why I wake up and go to work. And the thought of any other company thinking, here's the reason why it's not best for the seller, and to share publicly, you can look up quotes, right? They'll tell sellers, you don't want to accumulate a bunch of days on the market and then have to reduce the house, and that makes the listing look stale. Just stick with us. That way your days on market is never increasing, and we can adjust the price and no one will know the listing is stale, and this is the best way for you to do. You'll do better this way. That's what they're pitching.
Oh, okay.
That's their pitch.
Well, does that make sense?
That's their pitch. And so some sellers are like, oh yeah, that really makes sense. What they're not thinking is that when we price a house, we're asking our colleagues in the office what they think. We can do an office caravan to verify price before it goes into MLS.
But you're mainly going to comps.
We can put it as coming soon even to see how the feedback's going.
Sure.
We're going off of comps and skill. We know what we're doing on price.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem with listings sitting on the market, accumulating days on market, as if we don't know how to price a house. And so you go their route and you talk about, hey, they're keeping this listing in-house, and look, it's sold right away. And you're like, look, it's sold right away. I never had to reduce it. Well, great. You had one offer. It sold right away. Do you think you could have gotten more for the house? Right? It wasn't a house that was going to sit in MLS and accumulate all these days on market as if it was a difficult property or overpriced or a difficult type of property to sell. It was never like that. It was never.
Now, if this goes through, are you saying that now these bigger organizations are going to have more of a kind of an advantage, because then people are going to say like, well, if I can only show my home to this many people, then I should go with the biggest brokerage because they have more people. Is that
no?
That kind
it's only an option. It's an option for people to opt into. It's not mandatory. MLS isn't saying it's mandatory for you to do this. It's just an option. Most of the time, people are just going to go in MLS and do it the right way. But this is an option for them. And their agents are going to most likely learn these scripts and learn what to say to try to get these deals in-house, and for the company to have both sides of it to make the company more valuable.
But listen, man, I think
that's why I'm here. Like, I wish every seller could listen to this,
could hear that,
hear this podcast, and understand. I dare you to find a real estate agent that would do this on their own house, right? And that's always
I get
the case. Go find a real estate agent. I'm going to list the house, but I'm only going to keep it within Pinnacle. I don't want showings from any other company. Let's see who we can get a buyer, and that's how I'm going to sell my house.
I see what you're saying.
It's not going to happen.
No, that's not a good idea.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now there's exceptions, right? There's situations where people have privacy concerns and they want to sell off market because they do not want to sign. They do not want it in MLS. They do not want any public marketing. They have security concerns, privacy concerns, and that's always been a part of the market. That's fine. It's always been a part of the market. If that's what the consumer wants, that option is out there. But for the most part, for most sellers, they want as much as possible. Do whatever you have to do to get as much as possible. What's your plan? There's always that exception, that group, the celebrity group, the private group, the people that just like privacy. They don't want the world knowing what's going on. They don't want their friends know what's going on. And there's always options for them, and we'll do our best to get them as much as possible. But that conversation you have with someone has to be, look, you may get more if we go the full marketing, full-blown route. Are you okay with potentially selling for less to obtain your goal?
But that's not the script.
And they often say, in this situation, yeah, it's okay. I just need this done. And we understand, and that's all right. But what
it's a good
some
option.
of these large companies are talking about is globally, let's try to keep this stuff in-house for a period of time and sell it in-house. And they're doing it for profitability and share price. They're not doing it for sellers. That's not the meeting they're having. And a company like us, again, who's part of the community, we're our agents and our company, it's all we have. It's our reputation. And it's just, people need to know what they're getting into when they
Well, that's what I was going to say, Danny. Look, I think that, you know, this sounds like one of those things that it's like, okay, well, if you're going to build that reputation and follow that short-term profit, because see, the thing is that what I see about realtors is that the truly successful ones have a bigger vision than just, I'm going to be a realtor for 4 years.
Right.
Nobody builds a real estate business.
No.
And it's like, oh, but in 4 years, I'm going to do something else.
Right.
Like, you know, like once you're entrenched, man, that's, you know.
That's it. It's funny you bring that up, because I just told a story at a couple of our office meetings 2 weeks ago about this. And I just got on a kick of like my pet peeves, right? Things that really bother me. And I'll have sometimes agents come in to interview new licensees, right? Or there are people I'll run into at a party or socially, and they're like, I've been thinking about getting into real estate. Is this a good time to get into real estate? Is this a good time? It's a 40-year career.
Right. Yeah,
like
exactly.
you're going to be in this business in good times and bad times, and foreclosure markets and short sale markets and natural disaster markets and high interest rates, low interest rates. It's all sorts of things. You ride through it because you're a professional and this is what you do.
If it's your career.
If it's your career, is this a good time to get into real estate, right? You can ask that question, is this a good time to buy Apple stock, right? Because you could say, okay, is this a good day to buy Apple stock?
Yeah.
Or somebody might say, yes, it is, but then sell it in a week. It's a trade, right?
Right.
This is what you're going to do with your life and a career. Is this a good time? What you're going to get in for 6 months, and if things get rough, you're going to leave the business because it got difficult?
Sure. And it's very difficult, and because that's the point. I mean, it's very difficult to build a brand, specifically a real estate brand, because you're already starting at a negative, man. Like, you know, a lot of people don't like realtors, and that's just a fact, you know, because there are a lot of people that do pursue the short-term gain, the short-term profitability, what you're talking about. But these are not the people that have these 30-year careers, 40-year careers. Like you're just talking about right now, you're saying, man, I've been in the industry for so long, and this is why I have this righteous indignation that I don't want to see people taking advantage of. But at the end of the day, they're building their reputation, and I'm going to build mine.
Right.
You know, if I have an option between choosing profitability or doing what's right for the client, time and time again, choosing to do what's right for the client has brought me here. So why would I change it?
Right.
You know, why would I change the formula? So that's what you're saying, and I understand.
For a local company, all you have is your reputation. That's all you have. And the reason some of these companies are around a long time, there's a lot of good local companies around the country, right? And they're generational and they're around for a long time because they have the consumer in mind. They have their buyer's interest in mind. They make sure if they're representing a buyer, the buyer's doing a great job on inspections. They know what they're buying and they understand their future repairs, and they understand what they're getting in a property, right? They understand for a seller, what a seller needs, what's going on. And that's why boutique real estate works so well. And you'll see nationals, right? It's come and go in popularity, right? They come and they go. And, you know, one's riding high and then they go down and someone else goes up. And because they're into it for profitability.
I see.
And maybe we should be into it for profitability, but we're not. But
hey, you do pretty well, though. You do pretty well.
We do okay. We do all right. We do all right, but not like trying to hit those numbers. That's not the case. It's more teaching our agents how to represent sellers well. Yeah. And that's why we're there all day. I mean, the management of our company, we're there to make sure deals are done right.
Well, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure you have to ask yourself, was this all worth it? You know what I'm saying? Like, especially doing it for so long. You know, and that's, I mean, I'm sure that's a question you've already answered yourself. Like, is it worth it doing all this stuff?
It is worth it. I'd do it the same way again. If I had to do the next 38 years again, I'd do it the exact same way, because you want to do what's right by people.
Yeah. I think the thing is that some people hear that and they're like, wow, that sounds so boring. Or like some people hear that, it's like, wow, that sounds so sacrificing. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound so appealing. But I think you find satisfaction, in like when you do close deals. I mean, they're pretty good commission checks. But then B, like the sense of fulfillment that you get from seeing people's dreams realized, like, you know, it's a big deal. I just bought my first house. I know I shared it with you, right down the street from the office. What a moment it was for us. Like it was like a culmination of a lot of different things, because it's like,
It's very emotional.
it is very emotional, because it's not something that, you know, you just decide to do from one day to the next. I didn't come from money. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
save for years.
yeah.
Years. It's a very big moment. It's
And
a big
then-
moment for buyers and for sellers. It's very emotional. And
Right.
a good agent is sensitive to the fears and concerns of their buyer and the seller, because they're both going through a lot. They're both scared. The seller's scared of change and leaving behind memories in a house, and a buyer's concerned about how much is this costing me and can I afford it and am I going to be okay? It's two different sets of fears going on. But a good real estate agent, you know, the best gift a real estate agent can give a client is time. They want your time. They want to be able to sit on the phone with you, talk through every process. You know, here's what's happening next. Here's what to expect. Here's how we're going to handle it. Want to let you know how you're feeling. And just that phone call from the agent to the client at all times, during escrow, before escrow starts, after escrow closes, that's what means something. That's what a good agent does. That's the gift that you give.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you come from a generation that, because I feel like now, you know, with social media and, you know, the shows and all that stuff, it's just being a realtor is kind of tapped into the mainstream. But you come from a generation where it's like it was the grind, right? Like you come from a generation that like notorious for door knocking, you know, notorious for just like work, like farming agents. Like even the word farming is like, you know you're not going to get instant gratification. You know that what you do right now, you're not going to see any results until 6 months down the line. So talk to me about what that was
long
like.
term.
Like the culture, even the culture. What was that like? You know, when you
The
started?
culture back then. I mean, I started in 1986 and I did what I was told. I didn't question it, right? I started work for Pinnacle. Was the first company I worked for. I was
For Dana?
For Dana and these guys. I was 17 when I got hired.
You were 17?
I was 17 when I got hired,
Get
but I had to
outta
finish
here.
high school and get my real estate license.
Wow.
And
So
then
fresh out of high school.
I graduated high school in June and I had my license issued in August.
No way. So you just knew.
Been here ever since, and I've
Get
been here
outta
ever
here.
since.
That's crazy.
So I just knew, but I also knew that they knew better,
Okay.
and I just did what they said.
I see.
I didn't question it.
I see.
I'm like, they have my best interest. Whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford it. I put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
And, you know, right the first year, you know, you're doing farming the right way. You're dropping pumpkins off of trucks to the entire farm area and watermelons off of trucks in the summer. And
Yeah.
every other Saturday, you're sending out a door drop. There's a new flyer and a scratch pad on the doorstep. You're door knocking. You're setting open houses. You're doing everything that you need to do. And they told me to do this, and I said, okay,
And
I'll do it.
You
This
just
is what
committed to it
works.
every
I just
single day.
committed to it, and I'll do exactly what you say to do.
Yeah.
Send out just notes after door knocking. Everything that we were taught to do, we just did it, right? And sometimes today with, you know, we hire new agents, right? I want to make sure they're good when they come in, but I often get pushback. That stuff doesn't work anymore. It's the favorite answer I get from newer people. That stuff just doesn't work anymore. I mean, you mean building relationships?
That's going to keep working.
Yeah, sure. Social media is going to overpower and take over everything. And don't get me wrong, social media is a great tool to stay in touch with your sphere and your clients, and it's super cool. And I love social media. I'm 100% behind it. But you know, real estate's a relationship business,
100%.
right? And you get relationships from two areas. You get relationships from your sphere of influence, which are your past clients, your family, your friends, everyone you know socially, and then also from your farm area. But if you look at what a farm area really is a sphere of influence as well. Because when you know people, they're also referring you business from that farm.
Sure.
They see you at the door. How are you? What's going on? Oh, my son's looking for a condo. Can you help him? Or my mother needs to sell her house, or whatever it might be.
Right.
And you're getting, that's also a sphere of influence.
Sure.
So everything becomes relationship driven.
Yeah.
And then social media reinforces your name, reinforces your brand, shows your successes, shows what you do as a person, what you enjoy, and all those things back it up. But it's relationship driven. So when we talk about door knocking or being there or flyers or promotions in the farm, it's the same as with the sphere of influence. You know, being there, doing promotions, doing things, it's all the same.
Yeah.
But this answer is, you know, hey, old man, this stuff doesn't work this stuff doesn't work anymore. And we don't need to do that. I don't want to do that.
Or here's a faster way of
here's a
getting
better
business.
way. Here's a faster, better way of getting business. I'm like, I really hope it works. That's great. Go for it. But I would do this.
So it's just that we don't have, it's just that too many options and the shiny penny thing. Cause that's a big thing. Like, oh my gosh, I understand that about, particularly my generation, you know, it's like, wow, I met this guy who just is on the computer every morning, you know, from 9 a.m. to 12. And all he does is trades and he makes $1 million a day. That's what I want to do. Forget everything that I've been working towards. I want that. So you start that and you're like, oh man, it's not that hard. It's not that easy. Right. You know what? He can do that because he's been doing it for 30 years, you know, now. So I'm going to look for the other stuff. Okay, let's go follow that or let's do this. So I think it's, and that's really what I see from your generation is you would do what you're told, which obviously, you know, you do what your mentor tells you to do. You don't question it because you're like, no, man, this guy's way more successful than I am. And so if I'm coming to him and asking him for advice and he tells me, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to be faithful to that. I might not see results right now, but eventually as I continue to build, I'll start to see a business. And that's what I see that a lot of you guys is because you mentioned names like, you know, Danny Ross, you know, Keith Myers, Stephanie Vitaco, you know, all these people that have been in the industry for even Sid, you know, like all these people that have been in the industry for such a long time, their roots are this. Their roots are, bro, you know, get out of here with your, you know.
There was a time I was working in the same office with all of those people you mentioned. Sid Leibovich sat behind me. Stephanie Vitaco sat a few over. Keith sat next to me.
Yeah.
And we were all in the same office, all four of those names.
Yeah.
You know, and you watch what everyone's
was able to do.
Doing.
Yeah.
And that's your work ethic. Yeah. That's what you do. But at the end of the day, you're treating the client right.
That's what it is.
All of these people treat the client the right way.
Right.
They treat their sellers well, their buyers well. They do what's best for them at all times. And they all think, am I listing the house for the right price? Am I getting them as much as possible? And that's what matters.
And if they wouldn't, they wouldn't be here.
Their hearts are in the right place.
Yeah.
And that's why they're still around. That's exactly what's going on.
That's exactly
And that's why I get so aggravated. And that's why I started venting to you at the last picture appointment was this nonsense about, hey, let's keep this stuff and keep it in-house. We can increase our profitability, which everyone knows that's what it is so not okay. Yeah. It's so short-sighted and not okay to the consumer and not fair to buyers and not fair to sellers. And that's my issue.
But maybe like, cause you said, well, the thing is that when you have larger brands, maybe in the back of their mind, they know that, you know, it's like, you know, trends that they come and go. Maybe they're like, oh, well, we have to do this because, you know, who knows what the next 10 years are going to look like.
Right. Well, they're looking, it's profitability. It's shareholders and profitability and reporting to Wall Street every 3 months and what it looks like. And, and they're like, how do we increase profitability? Yeah. And that's just not the discussions come to any Pinnacle office meeting ever. Yeah. And you've never seen us we talked about how to become more successful, how to become a more successful real estate agent, but it's always about creating the best relationship with the client and the 100%. Best service and doing the best by the client. Then they refer you more. You get more referrals, you build a brand, you build a reputation, you're the person that gets the calls. And that's the way real estate is built long-term.
100%. As someone that's had a long, I keep saying that, but I think this is, why enjoy these conversations, with you and, for the people that, that, like you said, you guys all kind of came up together. That's why I love having these conversations with you guys. You guys are so full of, these wise, experiences. And so my question is, what do you do? Because it's not all, you don't always make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't always do the right thing. I'm not saying like I don't evil intent, but I'm saying where you genuinely make mistakes, and mistakes in this industry are very expensive or can be very expensive. What do you do or have you done in situations where it's like, well, this negative experience happened, and it wasn't in the best interest of my client, obviously. But how did you overcome that? And how did that not become part of your?
In every industry, right? You learn, and experience matters. And one thing that we do at the company is at most of the office meetings, we share experiences of things that went wrong or how something could have been handled better. So everyone learns from it. It's just like hospitals do, right? Yeah. Hospitals, I think once a month, most hospitals have a meeting.
Yeah.
They lost a patient or something happened. And how did this happen? How do we learn from it? How do we make sure this never happens again? And that's what we do as a real estate company. We learn from things. You hear what went on, or, maybe it was a home inspection issue, negotiation, or dealing with a condominium, an HOA issue. How did you deal with that? How do you make sure buyers are getting all the inspections they need to get? How do you make sure sellers understand their tax ramifications when they're selling and what they're facing and what they're dealing with? And so we talk about these things at office meetings all the time. I shared 3 personal stories of experiences I had on transactions just in 2025 and what happened on them and how we can all learn from them. And they were really market driven, kind of what's happening with the market, how buyers feel right now, and how much control does your seller have right now in the real estate market? How do you make sure the buyer isn't leaving and both parties are happy? Because the temperature of real estate is always changing. And having involved ownership and management at your real estate company to share these stories about what other agents are going through, what we're going through individually, what we've seen on transactions this past month or two, makes us better sellers. We said, go tell all these stories to your sellers. Here's what's happened in the past month on transactions. Let them know what's going on so they can make a good decision for themselves.
So you're saying it's more number one, own the mistake and own the situation, but don't just hide it.
And talk about it. Tell everybody. Tell the whole company.
Tell everybody.
Tell everybody. Tell everyone. Okay. That way everyone knows what's going on, what's happening, how the temperature's happening.
Wow.
And so let your sellers know here's what's going on. That's so good. We're always on top of it.
But that leads me to another question I wanted to ask you, because here you wear the hat and you wore it for many years, realtor, right? And I'm building a business, I'm building a brand, I'm doing all this. And then, you stepped into leadership I'm sorry, how many years again?
27 years.
Into your
ownership role, yeah.
Yeah, ownership role. How does that mindset shift? Like, what mindset shifts did you need to have in order to fulfill this role effectively?
It was always, it was easy. It was an easy transition because I was always just advocating for what agents needed. And that's how the ownership role happens, because I'm still an agent and I know what agents need and how hard their business is and what they're facing. And that's what you do as ownership. And if they're having an issue or a problem, check in with them, see how it's going, report back, answer their calls at 9:00 at night because they're freaked out about something or want to make sure they're doing something the right way. And that's it. Very simple.
I forgot who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone and they were saying, yeah, man, I guess they're talking about a specific person on how, he was just bringing a very toxic environment into the workplace. Like, yeah, man, that agent, I don't care if they leave, let them leave. That's good if they leave. It's going to help out. And it's like, The one that doesn't want them to leave is Danny, because Danny loves everybody, and Danny wants everybody to feel like this. So within the ownership structure, it's you, and then there are three other gentlemen, and you bring a totally different, flavor, a totally different vibe, and I think that's part of it. And advocacy, I can see that that's a really big part, because you're very empathetic, and you're like, oh well, I've been there before. Let's look at it from their point of view. Let's do all that. So, how are you that? But then also like have to be a boss when you have to be a boss.
Well, I'm more like a concierge. It's really more what it's like. I'm not really a boss.
Your answer. I love it, Danny. This is you. This is who you are. I love it.
That's just it. I'm there
I get
to try to help them through the problem.
I get you.
Obviously, if an agent makes a mistake or something happens, right, they're learning from it immediately. But now, how do we get it figured out?
Sure.
I mean, that's just human.
Well, because at the end of the day, listen, and this is something that's always touted when it's like, yeah, become a real estate agent, be your own boss. Technically, you still have bosses. You're one of them, you know.
Right.
But
and we're really there to make sure
100%
they're doing things the right way.
100%. But what I'm saying is that
going on.
You don't need to have a conversation with them, because life is going to teach them. And you know what the biggest lesson is going to be? No commission checks for as long as you don't work.
Right. Exactly.
So you're not going to come up to them and say, hey man, I didn't see you clock in. Hey man, I didn't see you doing your phone calls today. But life will teach them, know? So
and I'll go up to agents and say, hey, I haven't seen you in the office in a while. I know you're working out of home. And I said, but there's a lot of creativity and learning that goes on in the office. Where are you? Come in. You'll do even better. I can help you more if you're here. And so we're always fighting that, pushing that.
Sure.
But, agents, if they have problem transactions, sometimes things get messed up. We're there to help. We have a lot of support.
How do you, because being this way, you're just like, you're very giving in the relationship, right? You're like, I'm gonna give you all this, and just be happy, just thrive, just succeed, prosper. Like,
I want them coming. My job is to make sure I get there, everybody's happy, and I leave and everyone's happy.
I know you do, bro.
And that's really it. Just make sure everyone's happy all day.
So how do you,
and that they're okay and that they're getting what they need. And that's
I
kind of.
I love you, Danny.
That's kind of the job.
So then, how do you deal with people leaving?
It hurts. Oh, it hurts. It's I take it personally. It bothers me for a long time. It really does. I obviously try to do everything I can to get him to stay and to find out. But in this business, always going back to as far back as I can remember, there's always something, a new shiny penny, right?
Yeah.
And a new flavor, a new shiny penny, somebody with something, whatever it might be, that they think, is maybe going to be the answer to their success, to them succeeding further. Or maybe it's a spot where we fall short. Maybe somebody else has something they're learning to do better. Like, well, we can do that too. We're always evolving, right?
Yeah.
We're always evolving.
Yeah.
One's evolving after another.
You're like, we're a family. Why are you leaving?
I know.
Family?
I mean, I can remember an agent leaving Pinnacle years ago because another company had an AM radio thing, this writer they'd put on the sign. And if you pulled your car up and you turned your car to whatever, 6:40 AM, it would tell you about the house. Right. And they thought that was going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And sellers were going to want that. And that was the shiny penny why somebody might have left in 1987. So it's, everybody's always trying to, are we going to get that at Pinnacle? We're going to get the AM radio thing?
Yeah.
No, but we don't think that's going to take off. But there's other things that other companies are like, hey, yeah, that is cool. We're doing that. And there's things that we innovate on that other companies have mimicked us on. We're the innovator of, I think, of farming the way it is today. And the Sphere program's fantastic. And you're like, well, we could do this. We could do this. So we're always trying to innovate. And there's nothing we won't do for our agents or recreate at the company or make something better. And that's just a part of it. When they leave, it hurts, but we stay in touch with them. We hope they come back. We have many agents that have come back, have gone somewhere else for a little while and come back because they miss everybody. And that always feels great. And the ones that don't, we stay in touch because I really do care for them and like them and want them to be okay and succeed. But I do check in every now and then. are you missing us enough to come back? And, we're pretty fortunate that we don't have too many people leave. It's
So you
not
never
that
take it so
common.
personal that you're like, stay offended and you're like, I just won't even reach out to that
No.
person.
No,
I see.
No, I take it personal, but I don't stay.
I see.
I don't
Yeah.
stay offended. I don't stay offended because I still care. I still care about them, and
Yeah.
and I know how they got.
Yeah.
They're always trying to do something, but we can
Sure.
always try to match that.
Well,
back.
because I see what you're saying, because at the end of the day, it's not even about you and it's not even about the company. And this is the thing, like at the end of the day, 99% of the cases, it's not a new office that's going to help you take off. Like it's not a new strat. I mean, it's you,
It's you.
Fire you.
It's fire you. It's, what are you doing with your sphere? How are you seeing people?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Fire yourself.
What
Yeah.
are you doing soliciting wise, right?
Yeah.
How many hours during that week did you solicit for new business? Did you at least contact somebody, talk to someone on the phone, talk to your sphere of influence, check in, knock on a door, call somebody? How many hours did you actually solicit that week? And when I meet with agents, most of the time, it's 0 to 1 hour in a 40-hour work week.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And then they are thinking of leaving.
Yeah.
They have an answer. Well,
Yeah.
no, not if you're still soliciting 0 to 1 hour a week.
100%.
And most agents, none of us really like the how do we get clients, knocking on doors or finding new clients. We love advising clients, going on a market evaluation, selling a house, doing counter offers, showing property, working on an escrow, all the things involved the agents love to do in my experience. But it's that part of having to get new clients that's no one
that's brutal.
loves. They like working with the client, but when you're in sales, it's a part of it.
That's brutal, especially because, if you do sales, like you sell a product or you sell something, I mean, you're probably going to sell something within a couple weeks. But when it comes to selling a house, like that's, first of all, very few people are actually selling houses because of where the economy's at, which is actually what I wanted to ask you right now. I think it's a good time to ask. Where are we in terms of, because is it still a significant challenge for agents because of inventory and what are the challenges due to the market right now?
The challenges that we've had since interest rates went up nationwide, right? This is not a local issue. You have sellers that have 3%, 2.75% interest rates that do not love their house, do not love where they're living, but they love their house payment. And to go buy the exact same house at the exact same price, their payments are going to close to double at today's rates, which aren't historically bad, but they're just have these low rates, and to double their
they're
payment,
locked in. Yeah.
they're kind of locked in. So that's why inventory is low, because you have this group of people that just aren't moving. That's one of the reasons inventory is low. And some people are moving. The people that move, they've just outgrown the property, or they want something different, and they're just going to make that move and do it.
Sure.
But there should be more houses on the market. And nationwide, that's an issue. So if mortgage rates come down, there'll be more on the market. But that's one factor.
Okay.
And interest rates are a lot tougher to control. But the other thing that can be done I know a lot of people that are over 55 years old that have been in their homes forever, that would love to sell them and move on, but they do not want to pay capital gains tax. And so the way capital gains works on the sale of your primary residence are for a single, it's a $250,000 exemption of profit. And for a married couple, it's a $500,000 exemption of profit. And in our areas, it's common for someone to sell their house for $1.2 million, let's say, and maybe they bought it for $100,000 and they put in $200,000 over the years in the pool and roofs and kitchen remodels. And they have a capital gains tax between that difference. The problem with this $250,500 was it was put into effect about 27 years ago. 27 years ago, it was set to $250,500 with no inflationary clause in it.
Oh, I see.
So what was $250,500 was a lot of money
back then.
27 years ago.
100%.
Today it's not the same, and it never went up.
Oh, I
And
see.
so if Congress was able to up that
Yeah.
substantially to 500 and $1 million, let's say,
Yeah.
right? There'd be so many
makes more
people that
sense.
would sell. I come across people all the time like,
see.
we'd sell, we'd move to Palm Desert, we'd
Yeah.
move, but
But the
we're not
capital
paying
gains tax.
taxes on our house.
Yeah.
I just listed a house that I have in escrow now. The kids left the house vacant for 5 years because mom had capital gains on it.
Yeah.
Mom was in a retirement home. They were just waiting for mom to pass away
Yeah.
to sell the house, because then they did not have capital gains issues. Then it becomes inheritance.
Yeah.
And they were clear on the inheritance tax to sell it tax free. So for 5 years, it sat empty. And I see this all the time. So we talk about housing shortage and we need to build more homes. We're in the Los Angeles area.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't build more homes. There's not land to build more homes.
Right.
There's not enough inventory. So because there's not enough inventory, prices keep pushing up because there's not enough inventory. And they talk about, we need more inventory, we need more housing, we need to build more housing. You'll hear this all the time, these keywords. Well, here in areas where you can't build more housing, you can create a lot more, you can make people move and create more opportunity for other people to get into these homes that want to get into the homes. Because there's all these people stuck that I'm not selling my house because I'm not paying this, even though I'd love to move, I'm not going to do it.
How likely is it that legislation will be changed?
You know, it always gets floated. It's always something that almost comes up, but never really gets to, as far as I know, it doesn't really get to votes or to that last stage of happening. And it's something that really needs to happen because there's a lot of people that would put their homes on the market, and it would help control home price appreciation from getting out of control. Younger people would be able to afford homes. And they would have selection, and other people can move on with their life and do what they want to do. Sellers want it, buyers want it. And it's not right. Something was set 27 years ago and it never adjusted for inflation.
Well,
it just doesn't make sense.
That's a good point. Because what agents are doing now is, in order to compensate for the amount of sales that they were getting before, is they're taking on another stream of income. Meaning, if they were door knockers, now it's like, okay, well, now you just not door knock. Now you have to add another. You have to add other places to look for clients. And so to hear that there are other things that can happen. But it's tough, because putting your hope on that is like, when's that going to happen? You know what I'm saying?
You can't put your hope on it. You can hope somebody listens to this podcast and like, oh yeah, we really need to make this happen, or tell your congressperson that this is what you need to do. This needs to happen because it's going to free up inventory and it's going to create business for everybody. Every time somebody moves, it creates, it helps the economy. They hire contractors, they buy washing machines and furniture and landscaping, and it helps everybody. So when people are stuck, everything's just so stagnant. And this is one of the reasons it's stagnant. So that's something that could be done and would really help.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, there's one more thing that I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to talk about real briefly on. But I noticed that you and the leadership team is pretty involved in coaching. Particularly, what is that? Brainstormers. Yeah, you guys are. I just saw. I think Freddie posted something that Dana was speaking at the conference or something like that. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Did you go to that one?
Well, Dana and Carl and Christopher went to Leading RE, which is luxury portfolio and Leading RE. Dana spoke there, which was really cool. He actually spoke on natural disasters and how it affects local real estate markets and our offices. So he spoke on that issue.
I see.
But at the company, we have brainstormers. There's 2 brainstormers, so it's a little confusing. We have a brainstormers in December, where our top half of agents meet at tables and they all talk about what went well this year, what didn't went well, what's working, and it's a great event. Everyone looks forward to that. And then as ownership, we belong to a group called the Brainstormers, which has been around since I believe the 1950s, and it's 25 real estate companies from around the country that are around our size. That are
Is that a cap that they keep it at 25, and that's it?
It's a cap.
Oh
It's a
wow, I
cap. We
see.
meet twice a year
So
and
it's like
talk
a
about the
yeah,
issues with
yeah,
running a real estate company and what
yeah.
trends they're seeing
I see.
and how to make ourselves better.
It's
We
like a
always come back
mastermind.
with idea. It's a mastermind.
I see. So it's a mastermind with like,
We do that
yeah,
as well.
that's pretty cool,
Yeah, it is
man.
cool. We're going
That's
to
awesome.
Boston in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So
How because you know I see agents doing that, but from from an agent perspective, you know, getting coaching to become a better agent, it's pretty cool to see, you know, the leadership
we do.
looking for these resources to get. How has that helped you?
Absolutely. With our agents, you know, we always encourage them to meet with us to get training, coaching, brainstorming help. We're happy to meet them. I finish every office meeting with, you have free coaching available. Just email me, set an appointment. I'll meet with you. And
Maybe you
happy
should
to
put a
meet
price
with you.
to it.
No price. No
Maybe you
price.
should
It's a part
though.
of it.
But maybe you should. No, no, and I tell you not. But because
As a concierge, I accept tips. So that's
no, but I'm saying if you do that, what maybe try this for a year. Maybe say, you know what? It'll be like $50 an hour. Some ridiculously simple. Because more people will appreciate it and more people will be like, okay, well, if this is a thing, you know, I'm going to invest into myself. Right? If they see something free, they're like, I can get that anytime I want. You know,
the only thing I would maybe do on
Yeah.
that order, be like, fine, you charge $50 an hour.
Yeah.
And if you stick with it for 6 months, you get all the money back.
bro, come on.
See?
I think your attendance will at least double. At least double.
It would
It's like,
do
guys,
well.
you know what? I am now charging for this very inexpensive, but still, you know, decent $50 an hour. We can meet for 1 hour, meet for 2 hours, but this is like the caveat.
I have them scan their phone, right? I have a little thing there. I take Apple Pay. Like, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
Sure.
so you're doing it?
No. Sounds complicated. Just call me and meet because it's the best thing for you. I don't need to play games and trick you into coming.
Yeah.
Just come because it's
that's good. The
it's
people
what
that
you
will, the people that do want to take their business seriously, do it. And the people that don't, just, you know,
They do it.
complain
We have a huge
and
group
move
of successful. Exactly. You know, one of the things we do well is it's when agents come over to us, which they do. We're always grateful to have them. Our thing is to always take them to the next level and help them with their business to get to do better. And it always happens. They come over, they're doing better. We're like, I meet with them. What's happening? What do you need? Here's what's going on. Here's what you need to tweak. Let's get this. We have in-house marketing. We have all this stuff. Just take advantage of it and make it happen. I want to meet with you again to see if it's working and what's happening.
I love it,
The
Danny.
only way.
I love it, man. I
want
love
them
the
to
way
do
you guys
well. I hate seeing agents stressed because sometimes they stress because they're not doing well at a time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? What are you not doing? Let's get on this.
Well, and I think a big key to that is getting people to not just look at what's currently going on, but just zoom out and be like, okay, what's the bigger picture here? Like, okay, well, yeah, we're going through this right now. Yes, like if we want to have the conversation, today's April 2nd, tariffs are supposed to kick in, right? You know, like, and so, you know, but if you just focus on this moment, you'll get caught up in the emotions of it and you'll get stuck and you won't do what you need to be doing because what you need to be doing is going to impact you 6 months ago.
Right.
Because right now, you know, like think what were you doing 6 months ago, you know? So
and it still always comes down to relationships. People, there's always going to be things going on in the outside world, right? That are a distraction or this is going to be a problem or whatever it might be. People always need real estate agents. Life is always moving forward.
That is so true.
It doesn't stop. I've been through every type of market in the past 38 years and
100%.
People always need real estate agents. So stick with what we're teaching you to do and you'll always be successful. Do not worry about what's going on. You cannot control any of these things, but you can control if you're successful. You can be very successful. We have agents killing it right now, doing so well. And it's relationship, referral, reputation, because they're doing such a good job for their clients. They're doing an amazing job. And so outside influences, just do not pay attention. Do what you're supposed to do. Do the right thing. Work on relationships, and do the best you can do, and you'll always be fine.
I love it, man. I love it. Thanks for coming in, bro.
My pleasure. Thank you, bud.